Hi guys, my name's Tom. I'm on third shift down here in Panaline. We're gonna be talking about the GMAW process, some do's and don'ts, how to keep good, consistent weld.
I'm Cool Hand Lou. Be over there showing you how to run the panel welder and how to do that good job.
Alright, what we're gonna be doing, we're gonna be welding this seam on these panels with GMAW. So first we're gonna prep the seam. You're gonna cut the rat holes. And we're going to do the best we can to dry it out and get the moisture out, clean up any tacks that need chipped, and get it all dried out, ready to weld. Alright, Panaline GMAW process. We're getting ready to weld the seam. So once we get it all prepped and ready to work, what we do is it's a 6-inch weld, both sides of the rat hole, front and back. And we're gonna weld the seam, solid the whole way across. So, we're gonna talk about our settings here. So, the GMAW process is real sensitive to any kind of moisture, contaminants, that kind of stuff. So you want to try to make sure you get your materials clean as possible. And your settings are extremely important. So what we run at these Lincoln wire feeders and the wire that we're using, it's 052 wire. Typically we run like a 30.8 voltage and a wire speed for a fillet weld around 425 wire speed. And when we get into welding this flat seam, you want to drop your wire speed down to about 350, somewhere between 325 to 350, depending on the size of if there's any gap in the weld or anything like that. But your settings are extremely important. If you got your wire speed too high on your fillet welds, you're going to get a lot of blowback and you're going to see chunks of metal flying out. And maybe we could do some examples of that. And then, too low voltage, you'll see it'll be real bright and it won't sound right. So it's really important to pay attention to the sound. You almost want a good sizzle like you're cooking bacon. So, if you really pay attention to the sound, it's really important for, knowing what settings you're running on the material. We did a low voltage pass here, or a low wire speed pass here on this 6-inch fillet weld. So when you don't have enough wire speed, you'll notice it'll look almost burnt around the edges of it. And you can tell by the sound of it as you're welding, the sound will sound almost like it's fizzing, like when you open a pop bottle instead of like a nice crackle, which is what we're looking for. And it'll be real slow when you're welding like that. If you don't have enough wire speed, it'll just, your travel speed will have to be real slow to get a nice bead. So, yeah, you can see the kind of burn marks here along the top edge and the bottom edge there. And that's just indicating, low wire speed, slow travel. We're going to be welding a 6-inch fillet weld right here. It's the example of, proper settings. This is typically what I would run on the floor. This will be good for, good production times, good quality, pretty much all around solid welds. So, alright, we're gonna do a push angle. We're gonna start right in the inside of this, rat hole, and we're gonna kind of wrap that edge and push it out to our little marker here. So this is typically how you would want it to run. You don't have all that burn, that brown and stuff you would on the low side over here. You got kind of nice even color, good travel speed. You don't have to run too slow or too fast. Just a nice solid weld. You notice when you're listening to it, the sound, it was kind of popping a little bit. It's probably this whip, but, the sound, you almost want that nice, like, crackle sound, like you're frying bacon in the morning, right? Really make if you really just pay attention to your sound and you find a nice consistent, like, crackle, sizzling sound, that you're keeping a good wire speed, you're not welding too slow, you're not really having to wait for it to fill up, but you're kind of just tracing along with it, you'll get a nice speed like that. That's typically settings I would run on the floor. Good production time, good, and this is the low side over here. If you see that brown color it's got, that's just showing you it's almost too low wire speed. A little bit too low, and you can see how the edges really aren't filling in real well. You gotta travel real slow to get it to fill in. This side here kind of filled in real nicely. Without really having to do too much manipulation or anything, just running it. It's an example of, what it looks like if you have too high a wire speed. If you listen to it, it's going to sound real aggressive. You're going to get a lot of popping and you're going to get a lot of blowback. You'll notice more, like beads on your plate once you're done. And it's going to weld real hot. Really, if you just pay attention to the sound, you'll be able to tell. And then when we're done, you'll be able to see what the weld looks like to see, the difference between it and what the settings should look like, from what the weld looks like. Doing a 6-inch fillet weld. This is an example of what it looks like if you have too high a wire speed. Pay attention to the sound and, look at the puddle. Puddle's gonna want to move real fast. Alright, so you can see here, if you look at it, you see the color's kind of real inconsistent. Your puddles, or your, beads kind of lumped up in the middle. It's not laying flat like it's supposed to. Your edges really aren't filled in real well. And if you looked at it when I was welding it, it's just real aggressive. You can see kind of the hot balls all over the plate where it just kind of spattered all over the place. And that hump in the middle of the puddle really didn't get a chance to form out like it's supposed to. If you see the plate here, you can see all just the blowback, the chunks of metal just flying out. Cause we're getting too much wire in there. We're gonna be doing a butt joint here. We're gonna weld this seam, starting on this end to this end. This is gonna be, the settings I run on the floor. This would be good for, good quality, good production. You get a nice clean weld with it. If you pay attention to sound, it's going to sound a little different from when you weld your fillet welds. That's only because we want a little bit lower voltage, or a little bit lower wire speed on this one. Keep your voltage the same as what you ran your fillet welds with. If you're running at about 31 volts, you can pretty much just fluctuate your wire speed, weld fillet or flat, depending on what, wire speed you got. So, I'm going to be running this at about 330, 335 wire speed, 31 volts. And it's gonna be, push angle 2, just like your fillet weld would be. But we're gonna start off almost in a drag so we can get up underneath this angle here. And when we get out so far, we're gonna turn and go into just almost a straight up and down Not a real hard push angle, but almost just a vertical, straight up and down sort of, maybe just a slight 2 to 5% of an angle pushing, and weld it the whole way across. And if you're welding this exact weld, you want to try to get your weld up in the rat holes as best you can. That way you can connect to it on the other side, because it's supposed to be a solid weld the whole way across. We're going to be welding this flat butt joint. We're going to start up in underneath this angle. We're going to try to get it up in there as best we can. That way we can connect to it on our other side. And we're going to start off kind of dragging. And once we get to about right here, we're going to come almost just a straight up and down, maybe a slight 2 to 5 degree push angle. We're just going to bring it the whole way across. Anytime you're welding these seams, you want to make sure you're keeping a pretty tight arc length. Anytime your arc length gets a little bit long, you can see right in here, my arc length got a little long right here. So you get some of this different, kind of colorations, and the weld's kind of humped up a little bit more. I'm going to keep a nice, maybe 3/4 of an inch arc length. Anything longer than that with this, GMAW, you'll get porosity real easy. It's real sensitive because it's not dual shielded. So you get porosity real easy by wind, moisture, any kind of contaminants like that. So you want to make sure you're keeping your material clean and a nice tight arc length. These settings will be good for just good quality, good production. We're going to be running an example of too low wire speed, too low settings. You'll notice with the travel speed, it's going to be a lot slower. That puddle's not going to want to form out and lay like it's supposed to. And you'll see too afterwards, the coloration's going to be a lot different than what you want. It's going to slow your production down. You're going to have, not as good quality. We're going to start out up underneath this angle here like we did before. We're going to come across over into this rat hole on the right hand side here. We're going to be going over a 70-24 tack where they tack these together, which is typical. When you go over these tacks, you want to slow your travel speed down. Kind of manipulate side to side a little bit, really let that puddle fill out some. We'll be doing the same thing as we did before, a push angle, real slight, maybe 2 to 5 degrees, almost straight up and down. Yeah, that's about it. Let's get started. Alright, we're doing this GMAW flat butt joint. 2 lowest settings. I'm going to start out up underneath this angle, kind of a drag angle. When I get to about right here, I'm going to come to almost a vertical, maybe a slight push angle. Get it across to this rat hole over here on the other side. Going across this tack, we're going to slow down. You'll see me manipulate a little bit. Mind you, this is the not correct settings. But if you see kind of my movement over it, I'm going to slow down and let that puddle fill out real good over top of it. That's what you would want to do typically, regardless of what settings you would be running. So. Alright, if you look at your, color here, you can see how it almost looks burnt around the edges. It's got that real kind of inconsistent coloration, but it's got, lighter real close to it, and then that brown into black color. You see all the soot just from not having enough wire to burn off. You see how the weld kind of looks. It's kind of real skinny, humped up. It didn't really lay out flat like you wanted to. You can see where we went over that tack there. It's kind of funny with these settings, but, yeah, you can see how the weld's kind of humped up real good. It didn't really lay out. Your puddle didn't really form like it was supposed to. You gotta kind of fight it to keep a half decent bead. And all those variables really just make it, your welding more inconsistent, makes it harder to just keep a nice weld. You could hear it too if you were, paying attention to the sound when you're welding it. It's got that like fizz to it, like real flat kinda. It's no real crackle or anything like that, and that's just signifying, not having enough wire speed, too much voltage, as opposed to what you would have if you was running the right settings. So example, if you're running too high settings, you'll hear it, the sound, it's gonna pop a lot, you're gonna get a lot of blowback, a lot of spatter. It's gonna be real aggressive, that puddle's gonna wanna run away from you. And you'll see it in the coloration afterwards, just the difference in it all. It's gonna your travel speed's gonna have to be real quick, it's gonna have a real inconsistent bead. It'll be real hard to keep a consistent puddle. And I'm sure you'll be able to see that afterwards, so. We're gonna start up underneath here. When we come over this tack, we'll slow down a little bit, kind of spread that puddle out as best we can with these settings. Alright, GMAW flat butt joint, too high settings. Pay attention to the sound, and we'll show you the coloration and stuff afterwards. Alright, so you can see kind of how thick that puddle looks, how it's got this kind of weird texture to it. I'm just getting too much wire in there. Like down through here, over in here. It's kind of real humped up, sitting real high off your plate. It's probably, honestly, right within the parameters. You typically want, an 1/8 inch over. And that's probably pushing it. So if you're running too high settings with a butt joint like this and not being beveled, it's gonna be real hard to keep that, weld kind of, flat with your surface here. So, and you could tell when I was welding it, that I'm kind of chasing it the whole time. It's just, that puddle just wants to go, it's, getting way too much wire in there. It sounds real aggressive. It feels real aggressive for, somebody newer to the process. It's going to be real hard for them to try to keep it a consistent bead. You see kind of these wavy marks in here and stuff, just kind of fighting it because it's wanting to just, travel too quick, to keep that bead skinny. So also you see the coloration there. You're getting just that real tight white look. Just getting too much wire. It doesn't have that nice. You shine it over to this one. See. You look at this one, you can kind of see that nice consistent coloring. It's going from, light to brown to kind of like that darker color. It's not getting that real bright white or real dark kind of burnt look to it. A couple things. Keeping your nozzle and stuff clean is extremely important to this process. I can't tell you how many guys I see trying to weld with their nozzles all gunked up. Really just, causing them more problems. This process spatters a lot. You're gonna get a lot of spatter. We use, 7900, ceramic coating spray. It's this white spray you kind of see on your nozzle here. Keep your nozzle sprayed up. Keep your tips clean. Just to make the process a little easier for you. You not have to you're fighting with porosity and those kind of things, your nozzle gets gunked up, you're going to get porosity and stuff. So, pay attention to your settings. Settings are extremely important. Your weld angle, travel distance, it's an extremely sensitive process, being that it's only, gas shielded. It's not dual shielded like flux core. So there's more variables that's going to cause you to get bad welds, like, you're going to get porosity easier from wind and, moisture and that kind of stuff. So that's about it.
Alright, ladies and gents, what we got right here are your power supplies to your panel welder. These 6 right here, all you gotta do is just turn them on, like that. All these power supplies are set at 31 voltage. But they connect to the panel welder, and that's what gives you power to your panel welder. So what you got here on your settings, you got arc control right here. Looks like it's set at +2. Right here you got your hot start. Hot start is set at 4. You don't really need to mess with the settings. All you need to worry about is your voltage here. Alright, look, 31 grand. Alright, 31 voltage, that's all you need. This right here is your wire feeder. And on your wire feeder, you have your wire feed speed. It's the knob for it. You want that at about 400. That controls how much wire you got coming out, of course. Post flow knob. This post flow knob, you want it about 3/4 or so. What that does is that it controls how much gas continues to flow through your gun after it gets done welding. And on the burn back here, this burn back knob, you want that at about 1/4 to a half a turn. And your burn back, if you have it too low all the way down to 0, then your wire, once it's done welding, will get stuck to the plate. But if you have it turned up all the way, then you may be going to the vending machine and grabbing yourself a brand new tip. So that's a good way to ruin tips. Alright, so these right here hold your welding guns. And you have to adjust these welding guns so you're not just putting welds all over the place. You got knobs right here. This one takes it down, it takes it up. This one here takes it left, takes it right. This one helps adjust your angle to it. You want your gun at like a 45-degree angle. It's a good way to get a nice weld, having them at a 45. These 2 little knobs here are the clips that hold your gun. Right now I am lowering the heads. And it's very crucial that you have these little wheels right here making contact with the angle iron. Otherwise, if you have it like this, your wheel's not making contact, you're going to end up blowing through the angle. You want this little bunch cord hooked up, tied around, hooked onto the other one. Otherwise, you risk having your heads falling off the angle. Got your heads at 45, of course. Here are your adjusters. Up, down, left, right. Now you want to have it so the wire poking out, you want it so it can hit the plate just right before the angle, so it can build up and make that nice fillet weld. While it's welding, if you end up seeing your wire twirling at all, you may have to change out your liner to fix that. Otherwise, you're going to have some poor welds. Now, what I'm about to tell you about is distance between both of your heads and the stick out. So the stick out, you don't want it too close. Otherwise, you're going to end up getting a lot of spatter on there and clogging up your heads. If you have them too far away, then you won't be getting a good bit of porosity. It's like the porridge. Too little, too high, you want it to be just right. So I got it. I don't know how better to explain it, but maybe about half an inch away from the plate. And the stick out, or not the stick out, but the distance between the heads here, I have them at about 5 to 7 inches away. The reason why we do that is because you want your heads to be, the welds to be staggered. If you have two welds welded on the back side of the angle, and they're going over each other on the back side, your weld's going to be weaker. So that's why we stagger our welds, so they can be stronger. Alright, now we're over here at the control box of the panel welder. This control box, what you got here, you got your on, your off switch. This button starts the panel welder. This button stops the panel welder. This button, once it stops, you can move it real fast. This one, you can move it real slow. These switches here control your heads. They're numbered 1 through 6. Now, as we turn these on, you have all 6 of your heads here. You don't have to run them all 6 at once. This switch here is pointed at forward. That's the way we're going to be going. We do the first half of the plate going forward, and then we do the back half of the plate going in reverse. Got an off switch in the middle. And this right here is your emergency stop. I got to pull that out just like that. Got to turn it on. That didn't turn on the heads, but it gave the machine power. So as I press this button, the heads are going to start welding. And once you do that, you need to pay attention to your machine. Otherwise, you're going to be welding a lot of pickup. As I mentioned before, you want that wire pointed just right before the angle, so you get that nice full fillet weld. You don't want skinny welds. You want nice full fillet welds. So if you haven't realized already, I'm not controlling this machine each weld it does. This machine is fully automated. You see this little round black box up here? This box controls the time. And it's always set, so you don't have to mess with it each time you turn the panel over. It's usually set to 00F8. So, once you're welding, if you ever realize you get welds that look a little wavy or not consistently straight, the whip may be a little bit messed up. You see this whip right here? This whip doesn't look too great, alright? So you want to straighten it out a little bit, make sure that wire is going through there nice and easily. You realize that your weld's just a little bit straighter. Alright, you may notice here that the gun is a little far from hitting both the angle and the plate. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to adjust this knob here so I move my welding nozzle, my welding gun closer to both the angle and the plate so it hits both. Sometimes you unfortunately make it angles that aren't exactly straight. So you're going to need to be constantly watching this machine and making sure your welds will go too high or too low sometimes. You're going to need to adjust these heads as you're welding. Yeah, you also need to make sure you don't run off the plate either, because I've done it. go clear off the plate. Yeah, we'll have some real head adjustment issues then. See this weld right here? I don't like it. It's too low and it has porosity in it, ridden with porosity. Now, you'd have to move that one up a little. This one right here, it's pretty alright. It's still a little low, but it's not quite what we're looking for, but I wouldn't mark it for pickup. Now that one right there, whoo, that one's pretty. That's a Heartland standard weld right there.
Hi guys, Tom and Lou here, closing out this video on the GMAW process. We hope everything that we showed you guys help you learn this process and help your experience here working at Heartland. Final remarks on the GMAW process when it comes to hand welding. You know, a lot of misconceptions is that you got to manipulate your MIG welds and you got to push them real steep. I want to reiterate, you know, no more than about a 5-degree push angle. And you don't have to manipulate it like that. The material we're running sticking up, you can just run a solid bead. If you're welding a thick gap, you know, run a root and then cap it off. But that's really all I got. I hope this video helps you guys. I'm gonna turn it over to Lou here.
Yeah, well, hope you enjoyed the video and hope it helped, and hope you enjoy working here at Heartland. I'm Cool Hand Lou. It's like a porridge. Too little, too high, you want it to be just right.
Alright, 70, or yeah. We're doing this flat butt joint GMAW process on. Good? Lou's voice kills me. We're gonna weld a 6-inch fillet weld right here.
Oh, hold on. Redo that. Guess I shouldn't hold the lens over the, so you can explain.
This little thing here. And yeah, I don't know what else to say about that. Now all these power supplies are set at set at 31 voltage. Looks like about 8 seconds or so. That's all you really need.
Cut off my line a little bit there.
Can they see me? Am I too tall?
You'll hear it in the sound. The sound's gonna have like a real kind of flat fizz to it.
Am I good?
Alright.
It's fine.
I'm gonna get a whole blooper reel with you.
Yes, you are.
Alright.
Holding a lot of pickup.
That's it.